Hi, Gene here with today's thought. And today we're going to be talking about hypocrisy and double standards. And when you're talking about hypocrisy and double standards, very often, if not as often as not, or even more often than not, when you're talking about hypocrisy and double standards, you're talking about the Biden administration and Joe Biden himself. And that's what we're going to be talking today, because this is something that really... this guy, well, it's not just what I'm going to be, I'll be quoting from an article. That's what this is. I've got my quotes right here. But the double standards having to do with Israel and other countries and the United States, in this case, Israel and the United States. Now, as you must know by now, an Israeli drone strike. I'm recording this on Friday, by the way. You're seeing it on Monday. An Israeli drone strike killed. It hit a car caravan and killed a number of foreign aid workers. I forget the exact number, 6 or 9, kind of stick in my head, but a number of foreign aid. Well, anyways, doesn't matter the exact number. Well, in a way it does. Definitely 9 at the most. And you'll see why that matters in a moment when we get to hypocrisy and double standards. And I may actually do a whole thought on this, a future one, just on the double standards of Israel and as an example of anti-Semitism. But I won't deal with that today. What I will deal with today is the hypocrisy, because after that incident, for which, by the way, when these things happen, as they do in other countries, that is the point, including ours. And when that happens, we apologize and we promise to do, we make efforts and promise to do better in the future. That's exactly what Israel did. Not only that, but two officers, maybe even generals, I don't remember their ranks, but 2 high-ranking officers were removed from duty, and others were disciplined. Now, has anybody, and since we're talking about double standards, what happened to anybody, Joe Biden, the Afghan withdrawal, in which 13 American soldiers were killed in one day, though in the 18 months preceding that, before the Biden administration, under Trump, for 18 months, no American soldiers have been killed. So that's a difference right there, if you want to compare and contrast. But to my knowledge, nobody has been disciplined. Secretary of Defense Austin still has his job, last I heard, and he still has his job. Just leave it at that. Nobody was disciplined for that. And not only that, Joe Biden did not take responsibility for it, and our horrible biased press has not tried to hold him accountable either. That's one of the problems we have. We have a biased press, so they don't notice the double standard that I'm going to show you in a minute is so obvious, and it's one of only 2. I'll mention another one, that a responsible, objective press would have mentioned these and held and pointed out this hypocrisy. But of course they didn't, precisely because they are a horrible, biased press whose mission in their minds is not to report the news and then let us make up our own minds. It's to suppress any news that would hurt Democrats and elect Democrats. Those are their 2 priorities, and they're very closely linked. So this is now I told you about that drone strike. Now we're going to go right to the article, and I'm going to show you. We'll start with the headline, and I'm going to give you some quotes. So here is a headline: Air Force official briefs media on deadly drone strike in Kabul. John F. Kirby, and this would be the same John Kirby who was joining Joe Biden in criticizing Israel, and very broadly, nod, wink, 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 that they were going to change their policy on Israel. And then Kirby walked that back, and we haven't heard anything from the president, but Kirby walked that back and said that our support of Israel is as strong as it ever was. It is there's an obvious contradiction right there. Okay, so that could be a whole subject. But John F. Kirby, Pentagon Press Secretary, and Air Force Lieutenant General Sami D. Said, the Air Force Inspector General, briefed the news media today about an investigation into an August drone strike in Afghanistan that left 10 dead. That's why I mentioned the number in Israel that happened there, because whether it's 6 or 9, that is fewer than the 10, okay, that we killed. Said discussed his office's investigation into a U.S. unmanned aerial vehicle strike, that would be a drone, on a Toyota Corolla on August 29, 2021. Now, get this next part. The strike killed 3 Afghan adults and 7 children. So in our drone strike, 10 people killed, more than happened in Israel, and only 3 of them were adults, 7 were children. And now get this. You can imagine the stress on the force is high and the risk to force is high, and not appreciating what I'm about to say through that lens, I think would be inappropriate, he said, Saeed said. So you can see what he's doing. He's trying to mitigate this drone strike that we did, the United States, that killed 10 people, 7 of whom were children. So you ask yourself, in other words, he's prefacing, he's going to tell us something that he wants to, he wants the world, the international community, to let let the United States off the hook. Now, I heard no such statement from this kind of cover your ass statement from the Israelis. So there's a contrast right there, just one more. And okay, so appreciating what I'm about to say through that lens, I think would be inappropriate. So here we go. Individuals involved in the strike interviewed during this investigation truly believed at the time that they were targeting an imminent threat to U.S. forces, he said. Regrettably, the interpretation or the correlation of the intelligence to what was being perceived at the time in real time was inaccurate. In other words, we screwed up. Please forgive us. And that's basically what the Israelis were saying. And did you hear any apology in that statement that I just read, in any of the quotes I read? Yet Israel apologized. Did you see any indication of any American being, whoever was responsible for this drone strike, being held accountable, being disciplined in any way, let alone, as happened in Israeli side, 2 officers being removed from duty and relieved of duty, and others disciplined, but nothing like that there. So you see the double standard. And I will even go farther. You may remember I did a thought on this earlier when I was talking about hypocrisy, because with this administration, with Democrats in power, this is going to come up again and again, double standards and hypocrisy, when it comes to the only Jewish state. And that's basically what they're saying. It's different when Israel does it. When the only Jewish state does it, it's different. When the United States does it, when we do it, it's okay. Sorry, we screwed up. It won't happen again. But when Israel, they have to worry that they're going to have to be thrown under the bus by their strongest ally, or so they thought. And basically what the Israelis have to do, hopefully they'll get this war, the main part, over before the election. But they got to hold out. Things will be different if Trump wins, because Trump he puts a big value on loyalty. He expects people to be loyal to him, and if they are, he is loyal to them. Now, what I wanted to mention was, remember Anwar al-Awlaki. Anybody remember him? I talked about him before. He is an American, or he was an American citizen on whom Barack Obama, former president Barack Obama, ordered a drone strike. So you have Obama ordering a drone strike. Nothing mistaken here. He knew that Awalki was an American citizen. He ordered a drone strike on him, and also a 16-year-old, one of his children, a 16-year-old teenager was killed, and I believe one other person. But the point is, Obama wasn't impeached. Nobody was, the only person who would be disciplined, held accountable, would have to be not Joe Biden, would be Barack Obama, because he specifically ordered a drone strike on an American citizen. Okay, I guess that's my thought for today, the double standard, that I'm just pointing this out, and I'm finally just pointing out for the second time that if I know this, if I can find this, if I can remember this, surely somebody in the press could remember this and point it out. And that would be a great question to ask Joe Biden, if you can ever catch him to answer questions, and maybe provide, because he screens all his questions, provide a pre-screened question, but then when you get asked, when your turn comes, ask a different question, and just say, mention Awalki, mention this drone strike in Afghanistan that killed 10 civilians, 7 of whom were children. How is that different from what happened in Israel? And why is Israel being different? Why are we treating Israel differently than we are treating ourselves? And that's my point. That is the hypocrisy. That is the double standard. And this is what a little possible preview of coming attractions, because I'm going to, the United States is signatory to this international working definition of anti-Semitism, and we are a signatory to that. And one of the indications of anti-Semitism there's several bullet points, and one of them is holding Israel, the only Jewish state, to a higher standard, treating Israel different than any other country, and specifically during the Gaza war. And I think I'm thinking more and more that I'm going to go through the specific points, that Israel is going beyond number one, they're going beyond the Geneva Convention, and number two, they don't have to do it, but they're being held accountable. They're being pressured to go beyond what they have to do. Meanwhile, there's no blame placed on Hamas. There are several differences there, and I'm going more and more. The problem is I have other subjects I want to cover, but this Gaza war will be going on for a little while longer, so I'll probably have an opportunity to comment on it, because this double standard, that's not going to stop. They'll hold Israel to a different standard. They will not just hold Israel, as I said, goes beyond the Geneva Convention. And what happened? Did they ever get thanked for it? Any note of appreciation? Any acknowledgement? No, they just they get pressured by the Biden administration and the international community to go even farther beyond the requirements of the Geneva Convention. But as I said, that's a possible preview. I may not do it because things keep coming up. But in any case, that's my thought for today. You just got. Thanks for stopping by. Comments are always welcome in the comment section below this video. And I guess I say try to be respectful. And I apologize in my last thought that there was on one subject. I try to stay out of the comments, leave it for all of you. But I actually jumped into the comments, and I got a little hot under the collar, and I think I was a little bit disrespectful. I apologize. So I guess I would say don't be, I'm not saying be respectful, try to be respectful. And if you're not, then apologize as I did. And most of all, share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it. But most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.